Welcome back to Greg Plays Games. Here on the channel we discuss a lot of Nintendo games, but we dabble in some other game content as well. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a Nintendo Direct prediction. Nintendo earlier today announced that there's going to be a Nintendo Direct tomorrow at 6 p.m., which is significantly later than they typically run them. So kind of surprised to see that, but obviously all the Nintendo fanboys have just been eagerly awaiting this one, myself included. But let's first establish the games we know that they're going to talk about going into this. They said that they are going to focus primarily on their winter games. So right now we can see their games that they have completely listed out for the rest of 2021, which is going to be your winter, and going into 2022. So we know we're going to hear about Metroid Dread. That is going to be releasing along with the Nintendo Switch OLED. I think that they'll briefly touch on this. They've been heavily communicating a lot about this game, so I don't know that we'll go too in-depth with this. I think it'll just be at least mentioned. They're going to want to get in one last mention of the game while they have a pretty large audience paying attention and excited for this game to release. So I think this will be the last we hear about Metroid Dread until its release day. And I definitely think they need to talk about the Switch OLED a little more because we only heard about it once. Mario Party Superstars, I think this is going to be another game that they're going to touch on. We've only really seen a little bit of it from E3. How much they'll need to go in depth with it, I think I don't think they'll spend too much time with this one either. But I don't think we'll see anything about Pokemon in this Direct. At least I can't really see it. Advance Wars, they'll probably mention it bare minimum. I think they'll probably go a little bit more in depth with this time around as opposed to the E3 Direct, just because they didn't really touch on it much there. Arceus, I don't know if we'll hear any of the Pokemon stuff in this one, but Splatoon 3 I think is going to be the primary focus of this Direct. I think it's going to see the most significant news dump out of any of the games they talk about, because I think that this is going to end up being slated for earlier in the year, even though it feels like it should be more of a spring-summer game. Project Triangle Strategy, I don't really know if we'll hear anything about this. I think we'll probably get a title and maybe a little bit more information, but I can't say I'm particularly fiending for more information on that one. Breath of the Wild, I think, is going to be a full no-show here, and Sparks of Hope, I think they'll talk about a little bit. Bayonetta 3, I don't think is going to show either. So, some more things that I think we can definitely plan on hearing about from Nintendo. I think Animal Crossing, obviously big fans on the channel here. We have a ton of Animal Crossing content you guys can check out if you haven't already. I don't know that we're going to get a huge update announced. I do think that they're going to at least mention that there will be more news. I think that's going to be a little bit of some bullshit because we've been waiting for so long, but just the way they've been handling that game up until this point, I just can't get my hopes up that we're going to see any significant information at this. I think that they will bare minimum mention it just because people will lose their mind if they don't. So I fingers crossed that we get significant information on this, and if they're doing anything with it. Clearly they're planning something, but to what extent, I don't really know. I think another guarantee is a Nintendo Switch Online update. There have been a ton of rumors about adding more consoles to this, and you know, I think that there's a lot of validity to it. I think that Nintendo is seeing the business model of PlayStation and Xbox and the value that they provide their consumers from a gaming standpoint versus what Nintendo brings to the table, and you know, Nintendo really falls short out of those three in so many more ways. So I think that Nintendo Switch Online is going to be a strong feature this one too. It's also an easy way for them to give you content without them actually having to go in and produce something new, because they know that people love those older games. I personally don't really care if they give you an upgraded tier to get like N64 games and GameCube games for this price, along with Game Boy and all that. I don't need that. I'm not interested in playing games released 20 years ago. I've either already played the games I want to play, or I don't care. So a little bit pessimistic on Nintendo Switch Online, because I think it is going to be a heavy focus of this Direct, and I honestly could care less. Unless they come through with some crazy information that just is like, wow, yeah, I really need to play Wind Waker on the GameCube one more time. So yeah, that covers all the things I think are going to be surefire things. I just want to touch on Splatoon one more time. I just want to reiterate, I think that's going to be the main focus of this Direct. I think that's their biggest game that they're going to have in their pipeline, that they'll be able to share with consumers. So I think there's obviously going to be a few surprises in the E3 Directs, which was also roughly 40 minutes. They announced 25 or so games. I've only mentioned like 6 or so. So obviously there's still about 20 games that's going to be shown. Of course, you're going to have your Japanese RPGs and those more Eastern focused titles that I don't necessarily I'm not necessarily privy to, so I don't have any real guesses on those. I know Shin Megami Tensei 5 is one of those bigger games, but I think that they've communicated a good bit on that game, but I would assume that they would show that too. I don't know the release of that, so I'm so sorry. But, they're obviously going to announce things that we don't know about. So what are those things going to be? So I think that more likely than not, it's going to be the rumored Kirby game or the Donkey Kong game that's also been rumored, or maybe both. I can't imagine that one of these isn't announced. They've been rumored for so long. I've even covered them on the channel like before 2021. I'm not necessarily a news-oriented channel, but they've been on my radar for a really long time, so it seems very unlikely that they'll continue to go unnoticed. I think Kirby is the most likely candidate because there has actually been communication on that from, people that work on those Kirby games, whereas Donkey Kong, I don't know that there's as much justification there to be so confident that will show. My big guess for the last game that they show off is Mario Kart 9. I think it's been a really long time since they've done anything with Mario Kart or talked about even the potential for Mario Kart 9. I think that would be a great way to kind of set up what to expect later on in 2022 and have fans be really excited at the end of that Direct, and I think Mario Kart is a great way to do that. So my big guess is Mario Kart 9 will be announced, or whatever version of next iteration of Mario Kart it will be. Some of the games that I think will be no-shows at this E3 are Bayonetta 3. Everything has gone very silent on that game, so I don't really know if they're going to show this or what the status of that game is. The rumored GTA 5 remakes, I would love to see those here, but I don't know that we'll see those mentioned at a Nintendo show. I would love for it to happen. I don't know if it will. And begrudgingly, Breath of the Wild 2. I think that this game's going to get delayed into 2023, just the way they communicated the status of that game in the E3 Direct. It wasn't giving me high hopes, and I'm not going to go out of my way to get those hopes up. So I don't think Breath of the Wild 2 will be a show either. Those were all the games I had on my list to talk about, but one more that just came to mind is a new Mario game where obviously Nintendo loves to have Mario be featured. His games sell very well, and so I think that there will be some sort of announcement or inclination into what the next Mario game could possibly be. I would love for it to be Mario Odyssey 2, but I can't imagine that we're going... Sorry for that notification. I can't imagine that we're going to get a ton, like 5 brand new first-party Nintendo games announced. That's just not going to happen. So, I do think that we'll hopefully hear something about what's at least a teaser or something for Mario. Maybe it's just even a simple Odyssey 2 title teaser, but almost like what they did for Metroid 4, or Metroid Prime 4, I think, which I don't think is going to be here either. So Let me know what you guys think the big one final thing is going to be for this Direct. Mine is Mario Kart 9. And thank you for checking out this video. I might do a follow-up on my reaction to the Direct. I might not. We will see. But thank you for checking out this one. If you haven't liked the video, please do subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and see you guys next time.